Okay. Well, I assume you know why we're here. We're here for Spain. This is our faculty, but you've probably seen these two guys before. I think between us we have like about 20 years of experience combined in going and studying abroad. Here are pictures of a host of happy students that, hey, that went to Spain with us. I guarantee you every one of them came back alive, and that was good, and they all had a wonderful time. A brief overview here, I'll go rather quickly, is we're going to see architecture that dates from the times of antiquity, such as Roman architecture. We're going to see the Moorish era and the Mudéjar style. We go to both of these places, Granada and Cordoba. They're like nothing you've ever seen before. Had anybody researched Spain? Have you been on it? Oh, it's fantastic. There's no other place in the world like it. There's the Romanesque period. How many people have taken a history course thus far? So some of these names may be familiar to you. Okay, very good. We're going to see splendid examples of Gothic architecture. This is the great cathedral in Sevilla. We're going to see architecture from the Renaissance, which takes on its own particular characteristics in Spain. Notice some of the similarities in the detailing to the earlier buildings of Texas Tech, of which that style was an influence in the creation of this campus. We're going to see the Baroque period, the Neoclassical period, and the Spanish Art Nouveau, particularly of the Catalan region, is particularly splendid. And then, of course, Spain is jam-packed with numerous and world-class examples of modern and contemporary architecture. We have a studio facility at the Texas Tech Center in Sevilla. We have internet, photocopying, and I highlighted air conditioning. And once you get to Southern Europe in the summer, as our two former students here can testify, that's actually a fairly desirable amenity. Sevilla is located on the banks of the Guadalquivir River. This is the city from which Columbus set sail. It contains 3 UNESCO World Heritage Sites. Seville was founded by the Romans. There's actually, some people contend that there was somebody living there before the Roman time. And it has gone really representative of the entire history of Spain. Today it has about 700,000 inhabitants with a metropolitan population of over 1.5 million. We spend most of our time in what's known as El Centro, which is the historic core of the city. The Spain program, we're unique. Our fees cover more than any of the other programs do. Leo, how you doing, buddy? Okay, and former students here. We put you up at a residencia. They feed you 3 meals a day, except on Sunday I think you get 2, and that's a big plus. If you're in Paris, you gotta buy your own food. We also cover train fares for when we travel. Your course fees pays for a bus pass, museum fees, and when we're on the road, lodging and breakfast during study tours when we go away from Sevilla, like when we go to Cordoba, when we go to Granada. Every year we have just a slightly little different travel itinerary. The educational goal of this program is to investigate the relationships between culture, architecture, and the design of public urban spaces. So we don't focus as much on mere building design, but more on building within known existing urban contexts. Here's some examples of a project from 2013. I think this is 2014, 15, and then you can see these splendid examples on the back wall of the work that was done by our fine students from last year. It gives you an idea. We try to make a complete holistic approach to this course, experiencing places, people, and enjoy your everyday life in Spain. As our four good friends over here will attest, we don't lock you into a studio 12 hours a day. We try to get you out into the city and out into Spain, actually. We do quite a bit of traveling throughout the country rather than just being based in one city. We all went to Cadiz, didn't we, last year, which is always a fun day trip down onto the coast. Cadiz is, I think, considered to be the oldest continuously occupied city in all of Europe. There were people there before the Phoenicians. It's a very strategically located island. Here's Mary. Come on in here, we're doing Spain. Okay, they're all running away. This is in the Barrio de Santa Cruz. Anybody remember this beautiful little plaza here? This is downtown Sevilla. There's plenty of places to see and wander, and they call these kissing streets in Sevilla. Are you familiar with that? You can lean out one balcony and you can kiss somebody in the balcony on the opposite side of the street. The streets are very narrow. The life of the city is, it may be quite different than anything you've experienced before. We don't visit a lot of shopping malls with large parking lots. And as a matter of fact, I don't think we saw one the entire time we were there. Typical scene in street, cafe, and plaza life. These are more examples. This is the Great River. You're looking at the district of Triana across the river from Sevilla. They've grown into being parts of one city, but this, I wouldn't know. Ooh, sorry, what happened here? But is there a light? I think, no? I thought there was a little laser, a little laser beam. Don't worry. So anyway, these are some views from, this is Barcelona with a view of the Mediterranean. We're back in Sevilla. Maybe again this year we will get to Valencia, where you'll see some of Santiago Calatrava's work. This, of course, is Antoni Gaudí, who's, there'll never be another guy like him. Shot of the big cathedral in Sevilla. The one thing that over all the years that I've gone that I truly appreciate about the city is we don't always just focus on spectacular world sights. The everyday life of the people when you live there is incredibly interesting and very beautiful. We're in Oporto. There's the bridge up to the conjoined cathedral, as they like to call it, in Salamanca. We may get over to Lisbon again this year. This is the village of Sintra. So again, we've together, Professor Ron and I have had a very successful collaboration over the last 4 years. We know how to get you there. We know how to make sure you have a good time when you're there, and make sure that you get back and as these students here can all attest, that you're in one piece. Remember some of these great moments? Ah, the memories, right? This is very great fun. Some very crazy and interesting times here, but they were fun. So anyway, that's my presentation. Do you guys have any questions?
Okay, so you say you visit a lot of places, and you have like a big list of like, do we still go to Morocco?
I'm going to let Professor Ronha come up and answer some of those questions about it.
Well, if we do that, it will be optional, and so it will depend on how many students sign up. And also, it also would depend a little bit upon as we get later into the year and what happens with travel situations and things like that. But yes, we would love to do that. But again, it's an optional thing, and I think 2 years ago we priced it. It was about $350 or $400 or something extra. It's not really expensive. It was like a 4-day, 3 or 4 days. But that depends upon having enough students. We have to have at least, I think, 10 students for it to make. Otherwise, they don't do it. It's not profitable for the tour company to get a bus and all that.
And then you also said that we stay in the Texas Tech Seville campus.
Yeah, Texas Tech has had a center there since 2001, and they rent a building where they have classes. They have a staff there of 4 or 5 people, including a director who helps us with various things. If you ask these guys, if you get sick, there's somebody to go with you to the doctor so that they can help you with the language if you don't speak Spanish. But also, if you have any problems, like you lose your passport and need to get a new one, they are there to help you to figure out how to do those things. They also accompany us on our trips so that they take care of the logistics, and we don't have to run around as faculty to buy tickets or make sure the bus is there on time and things like that, because they do that kind of work. But mainly they're there to help students with the things. Your insurance, your program fee covers health insurance as well. And usually for most things that you may get sick there, you don't have to pay any copay, so you go see a doctor, and the medicines are much cheaper than they are here. So with that insurance, it really helps, because your American insurance doesn't cover you over there, or if it does cover you, you still have to pay up front, and then you have to fight with them when you get back to get the money back. What else?
Also, since it is a Texas Tech campus, and there are like other students from like other majors who are like basically on their study project and stuff, does that mean we'll be like in conflict or like integrated with these other students?
No, not really. And these guys can tell you how many tech students did you meet when you're there.
More than the Spanish people.
Yes, but did they?
But no.
Were they in your way?
They had their own classroom. They had their own classroom. Yeah, I was friends with a bunch of engineers, so we met up afterwards when I got dinner and stuff. But during class, no, it wasn't a problem.
Yeah, we share the building, and we have class in the room that we use. Usually the Spanish students have class in the morning, and then we have studio there in the afternoons. And if we have to leave anything there, we leave it there. That's not a problem. We leave drawings up on the wall. If you choose to, you can interact with the other tech students. If you choose not to, you don't have to do anything with them. Sometimes they may share a bus with us when we go on an excursion, like to Granada or to Cordoba, just because that way it's because it's a 60-passenger bus. So but even when you're there, we have separate tours. We go through the Alhambra as an architecture group, not with other students, so that we can focus on what things that we are interested in, and not bore them with things they're not interested about. And similarly, we don't get a tour that they get, which is not what we want to know about. What else? The project that we usually do every year has been in the Old City, and hasn't always been the same project. But it's always a project about public space. And it's always a project about, since it's an old city, there's very little space left for anything new. So most of what goes into Seville, the old city of Seville, is either replacing something that deteriorated or rejuvenating some place that's already there, making it updating it and making it more contemporary, or repairing it because it is in bad condition. So. Our project usually involves rejuvenation of an area. And last year we worked with a site along the river, which was about 800 meters long, so like 3/4 of a mile. No, yeah, a little more than half a mile long. And other years we've done plazas that are deteriorated, and find ways to, the reason we do the tour at the beginning of the program is to learn about how Spain uses public space, to learn about experience of different cities in Spain, and to look at projects, contemporary projects that have dealt with rejuvenating neighborhoods or places through public space. And in the process, we also look at buildings of famous architects that are in those areas. Like Professor Shacklet mentioned, or you guys, by the way, these are 4 students who went to Spain last year. So their memory of the experience is more fresh than any other students. And plus, I don't know if there may be a couple of students from previous years who are still around, but most have graduated and gone elsewhere. Who are some of the famous architects' works that you visited? Richard Meyer, Mies van der Rohe, in Barcelona, Toyoito, Enric Miralles, right, the Catalina market. There are a lot. And of course, a lot of Calatrava in Valencia. That tour is to introduce you to the culture of Spain, particularly its urban culture. And then, so that you have something to work with when you get to Seville. Then, of course, we try to understand Seville itself, which has its own unique environment, and then apply that to the design project. So all of that research you do and the assignments you do to understand the culture and the context, that's part of the 4,000 class. And then the 4601, you apply that in the design class. We also work closely with the University of Sevilla. I've been working with professors there since 2004. I don't know if any of you came to the lecture on Friday. Did any of you attend the lecture on Friday? Right. It was by a professor from University of Seville who has been working with us since 2007. And we usually invite 1 or 2 or 3, depending upon the situation, professors from University of Seville to be reviewers in our reviews. Sometimes we invite them to give us a tour of certain areas, depending upon what site we choose. Last year, we didn't have anybody give us a tour of the site, but they were very instrumental in giving us all the background information we needed about the site plans and things like that. So they've always been very closely associated with our program. And next year, we want to create a little different collaboration with the University of Seville since right now they have a lot of English-speaking students. We want to have some kind of a mentor program where we can pair you up with a Spanish student, architecture student, and who will be like your buddy for the time you're there, or to take you around, show you around, talk to you about the city, show you places that you wouldn't know about or discover on your own as a tourist or as a visitor there. And as a result, you may get to know their friends as well, and hopefully establish some kind of relationships and contacts that may not end with Seville. It may continue as professionals the rest of your life. I know I've done that in Mexico, and many students who went with me to Mexico many years later still in touch with students whom they met when they were in Mexico. And so that's a useful thing to do, be able to have established professional contacts that are in another country. Who knows, at some point your paths may cross, at some point you may have to, you may want to consult them for an idea or ask them to collaborate with you on something or help you to find some information that you need. So that's an important part of study abroad, is to not just go abroad and be a group of Texas Tech students, but have no interaction with local professionals. You may have local professionals come and give you a lecture or something once in a while, but they are going to speak to you and go away. But having an opportunity to interact with people of your own age and your own, studying the same things you're studying, that's a different kind of interaction that you can learn from, because students learn a lot, maybe more from each other than from the professor very often, because the professor just to introduce an idea, and then students learn more about it by interaction. Well, you guys who went to Spain, do you like to introduce yourselves and just say a little bit about what you learned from the program and how it helped you, or some of the highlights? Zane?
My name is Zane Douglas. I think everything about it was amazing. I felt like not only did you learn architecture, but I felt like you learned life skills as well, which may sound cliche, but truthfully, we worked in a group of 6, there were 2 groups of 6, and trying to work with the team is something we do. We kind of mess with the architecture in the architecture building, but it was kind of on a larger scale and more dynamic, and so there was a lot more figuring out how to work with people, which was good. Seeing architecture in context was really awesome as well, so seeing architecture feats and seeing what they actually look like in their placement on the site and everything is really amazing. And pretty much everything that you know here is completely different there. So the culture is different, the city there, the layout, the way of life is totally different, and so you get an awesome experience of kind of coming back and realizing like there's a bigger world out there, and knowing that there's a lot more options for design and a lot more things that you can incorporate when you come back here. Yeah, I don't know, I think it's one of the better trips. We spend plenty of hours in the studio, but we also, in the mornings, we took some just morning walks with the professors, and they would show us some of Seville, and then there was also, we worked really hard during the day, and then in the evenings you had free time to go out and explore more of the night culture, which is a big deal. City life, the nightlife, and the whole different culture that goes on there is really something to, I think, take a hold of. And in 6 weeks, I feel like you get to just touch on the culture and just touch on the way of life, but it's enough to understand it and enjoy what's going on. So, yeah.
Okay, Marissa?
Hi, Marissa. We have like a lot of studio work that we're showing, but I loved how some of the projects it was like go out to this plaza, like go study, like your homework is to go study and explore the city, and that's a great way to learn more. And being with the Texas Tech campus and like the housing, I have 5 other roommates who are like Spanish girls, and they took us all over the city, around the old city and over the river, and it was so much fun because you really get to meet these new people and make those new connections.
Yeah. Regarding group work, I want to say this. We usually don't do group work. Last year, just because of the site being a very long site, it was an experiment.
We all learned a thing or two.
Right. And so, yes, there will be some group assignments because you're in a strange place, a new place. Some of you don't know the language. And so we try to pair you up, at least not more than two, but often at least two, to do some group work. Like, for example, they had to go and investigate some plazas in Barcelona. Well, they'd only been in Barcelona 2 days. And it's a big city, and it's not safe to send you guys by yourselves to somewhere in the city to find how to get there. On the other hand, because it didn't make sense to send 7 people together to do one thing. That doesn't make sense either. So we paired them up in groups of people who could speak Spanish, or somebody who had some experience of being outside the U.S. or something like that, so they could help each other. Plus, we had also researched those places before going, so they had an idea where they were or what they looked like, so if they were in the wrong place, they knew they were in the wrong place. Because safety is an important part of study abroad. We don't want any of you to get into bad situations or any kind of unsafe situation. And so from having done this many years, many places, many times, we have learned from those experiences how to create a safe environment and still that you have the freedom to enjoy the place in whatever way you want to. As I said, Seville is a very safe place. You can be out on the street at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it's still it doesn't feel like unsafe. That's one of the advantages of not being a large city with some anonymous spaces. But in general, Spain is safe. Of course, Barcelona, Madrid are big cities, and they are just like any big city anywhere, whether it's New York or Barcelona or Rome or Paris. You can get mugged, you can get into trouble very easily and get your wallet stolen. But you have to be streetwise and be aware, because you're traveling in public transportation, which many of you are not used to. Traveling in a bus here in Lubbock to the parking lot to here is not the same as traveling in a bus in Seville or Barcelona, right? You don't walk around with your wallet in your back pocket. It will be gone in 10 seconds, and you wouldn't even know it. But that's any big city. So you learn those kinds of things too, because those are things which we don't get to experience here in the United States, particularly in the cities we live in here in Texas. Any other questions or concerns that we can help you with?
Email us, ask us any questions you want, whatever, help you in any way that we can. And spread the word to your friends. We'd like to see somebody here next time. So let us know. If you need to ask questions that you're not comfortable asking in front of us, you can talk to these guys later. And ask about those things. That's the reason we wanted to introduce you to students who have been there before, because we think that they had a good experience, it was very beneficial. And Spain is one of those places where you don't learn about it in the history books in architecture, because, but yet it has just as many famous buildings and great places as anywhere in Europe or anywhere in the world. The Alhambra is a World Heritage monument site, and it's to Spain what the Taj Mahal is to India, or the Eiffel Tower is to Paris, and it's a highlight of the Moorish area. The Moors ruled, influenced Spain for 700 years. No other part of Europe had an Islamic influence. So you have the richness of the European culture combined with this other culture that makes Spain very, very different from the rest of Europe. Well, Bill, let's just go around the room. If you don't mind, introduce yourself and tell us where you're from.
My name is John Darnell, and I'm from Midland, Texas.
Great. Permian Basin.
My name is Wesley McGlory, and I'm from Sugar Land, Texas.
Sugar Land, right? Houston area. Biggest city in our state. Yeah.
Well, my name is Ismael Hernandez. I'm from Dallas. I'm from Garland, but
Dallas area.
my name is Isaac Carroll. Like currently, my residency is in Virginia.
San Antonio. Great.
My name is Leo McKay, and I'm from Houston.
Any of you have been in Europe before? Okay.
Only by the airports.
So nobody's been to Spain yet. The other thing about the Spain program is that since we have a Texas Tech Center in Spain, we have representatives here on the campus who work for the Texas Tech Center there, and so they will help you also in your arrangements for going to Spain. If your parents need to talk to somebody to they have concerns about this or that, they can call the advisors in the study abroad office who deal with Spain and talk to them. If the various other things like getting passports, getting if you have any particular health issues, talk to them. They will be able to guide you and help you with the information you need to take care of those things. No, we don't all leave together because we leave about a week or so after classes finish. So you're already back in your hometown. So we let you plan your arrival in Barcelona. We start in Barcelona, and the same thing with coming back. You don't all have to come back together because some of you may want to travel in Europe and go other places. Some of you may not want to return to Lubbock. You may want to return to Chicago or somewhere else because of some family event or something else. So we leave that travel arrangement to you. But we require you to arrive in Barcelona on a certain day, and we give you all the information you need to get from the airport to the hotel. Did you guys have any problems with that? Okay. As long as you follow directions, you don't have any problems. It costs only €5 to get from the airport to downtown Barcelona, and then you choose a hotel where you can take. It's a 5-minute walk from the bus, where the bus drops you off to the hotel. So it's easy to do that and safe to do that. or if 3 or 4 of you are traveling together, then you take a taxi. You don't have to take the bus, and it's just costs the same as the bus per person. So we are concerned again about your safety. So we make sure that you have clear directions how to get from when you arrive there, even though it's maybe your first time in a foreign country. We prepare you for that, so that you don't. And sometimes students make mistakes and they don't listen to instructions and they get into trouble. But that we can't control that. Like a guy the year before last left his carry-on bag in the bus. Got off the bus and left his bag in the bus. Had his passport, camera, all kinds of things, important things. Now, we couldn't help that, but he was lucky. He, as soon as he got off, he realized what had happened, so he ran after the bus. But in the meantime, the other guys who were with him went to the hotel, which was right near the bus stop, and told them what had happened. So the hotel called the next stop, which was the terminus of the bus, and said, so-and-so has left this bag in the bus, so that somebody at the stop was waiting there and got the bag. So that way, he was lucky, but those kinds of things generally don't happen unless it's somebody's fault, their own fault. So if there's any specific questions, feel free to email us. Also, I do not know, do you know guys who are interested in Spain who didn't come here today? Okay. do you think it would be useful to have another session for those people who couldn't come today?
We probably still,
Okay, because tell them too if they have any specific questions to email us, or if they want to come talk to us, email us and make an appointment. When do you have to? I think next Monday you have to make your choices, right? So this week. Is it tomorrow? Okay. So, so you don't have much time. So, yeah. If you guys have no other questions, we'll let you guys talk to students over here if you want to. Thank you guys for coming. I should also which is something that we all got in the tech center for free. We will help you in the accreditation graduation class next semester with airfares, finding the best deals, advice about that kind of advice too. They may be able to help you to tell you, what routes they took and how they got whatever fares they got. Because airfares, that's another reason why we don't go as a group, because airfares are a moving target. It keeps changing all the time. And sometimes group fares are not necessarily the cheapest fares.
Sounds fun. You should do it.
Okay. Thanks for coming.